I have to admit something. I'm a bit of a sucker when it comes to pickup trucks. Much of it I can trace back to one of my favorite movies of all time from 1985. Now, a time-traveling DeLorean may have been the star of that movie, but for me, the real star was a black 1985 Toyota Hilux SR5 in 4x4 with the huge tires, the bull bar, the roll bar, and those massive KC daylighters all over the vehicle, really. Now, that Toyota Hilux from 1985 may have captured my imagination as a kid, but can this modern day interpretation, this 2021 Toyota Hilux Conquest, conquer it? Now, Toyota Motor Philippines first launched the Hilux Conquest in early 2018 as the range-topping version of the whole Hilux line. This was meant to be the more rugged, the more lifestyle variant for their customers. Think of it this way. If the Ranger has the Wildtrak, the Hilux has the Conquest. Now, depending on the market, Toyota calls this version of the Hilux by many different names. Over in the UK, they call this the Hilux Invincible X. Over in Malaysia and Australia, they call it the Hilux Rogue. Over in Thailand, where this is made, they call this as the Hilux Revo Roco, but here, we call it, of course, the Conquest. Now, this Hilux isn't a new generation model. It's actually part of a series of facelifts, the latest ones, from Toyota. There are the standard models of the Hilux, which actually look quite different from this. This one is, of course, the most aggressive. As you can tell, the grille is very different. It's finished in matte black, some gloss gray, some chrome here. The headlights, these are bi-beam LEDs. They look really striking. They actually added a little bit of a spacer here to kind of flatten the whole thing out. The bumper is very different, but perhaps the most striking feature in terms of the front, well, it's the fog lamps with the massive overriders. If there's one prevalent theme with the Hilux Conquest, it's the fact that Toyota really listened to their customers. Customers wanted bigger fender flares. They got it. It even comes with a little bit of gloss gray up top. They wanted bigger wheels. They got it. These are 18s and they're finished in gloss black. It looks very different from before. It actually completes the look very, very well. Now, over on the side, you can tell that the side mirrors, the door handles, and even the step boards are all black, and these are all in matte black. The previous versions, they had gloss black side mirrors and door handles. Some people didn't like that, but we like this version. The color, Toyota calls it emotional red, and it looks really good. It's a special color, a hero color for the Hilux Conquest line. I don't know about you, but I like black, I like red, I like black and red together. One aspect where Toyota really paid attention to what their customers were saying was with the bed. Now, the previous Hilux Conquest had a roll bar here in the back, but it wasn't really a true roll bar because it kind of finished right here where the bed began. So it was really just a bolt-on kind of thing. So Toyota abandoned that idea. They went instead with a plastic sports bar, which does complete the look very nicely. Of course, it's really for design, but again, it looks pretty good in the Conquest. Now, the Hilux bed hasn't really changed, for the double cabs that are available in the country. This is still a near perfect box at 1.5 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, and just a little bit under 0.5 meters tall. It's still one of the biggest beds in its class, of course, not counting the wheel wells that, protrude into the bed. But what we really like about this new Hilux Conquest is this. Now, the previous Hilux versions had a big gaudy decal here on the tailgate, but not for this new model because they put it right here. The new font actually looks good. It's a lot smaller than it was before, and we really do like it. But what we really wish Toyota would do is just get rid of all the decals, on all the badging together. Just put a Toyota on the tailgate, and that'll be it, just like the great Hiluxes of old. But if you don't need to have passengers in the back of your Hilux, don't worry, you can still maximize your space. For example, if you're the type that likes to have, extra shirts handy, these will come in handy. It actually has hooks right there for all of your, clothing requirements in your truck. If you don't need to have clothes there, don't worry as well. You can utilize the space in many other ways. You have hooks here in the back of the front seats, so it allows you to hang some, small packages that you buy from the mall, stuff like that. If you need a bigger cargo area here that you don't want to be exposed in the back, well, you can actually lift the seat cushions. That gives you a bit more space down here, and it also exposes tool storage right here, so you can have your jack here, your wrenches and stuff. So that makes it really simple. Oh, and if you notice, there is also a 60-40 split between the two. So again, you can configure the rear of the Hilux depending on your requirements. Now the back seat of the Hilux is actually a lot nicer than you would think it should be, because these trucks used to be workhorses, but a truck like the Hilux Conquest is a bit more lifestyle-ish. So you have pretty plush seats. The cushioning is really nice. The scalloping on the seat backs are also quite nice. For the two outboard or passengers. If you don't have someone sitting in the middle, you can fold down the armrest, so you have two cup holders, and it's pretty comfortable too. What I do like is the fact that you sit a bit higher up. So in other words, in terms of if you're the type that gets dizzy a lot on long drives, this would be great for you because you can see out a bit more even with this big, seat back right in front of you. Oh, and if you're like me and a little bit, vertically challenged at 5'6", well, you would appreciate the grab handles here. It just makes getting in and out a lot easier. Now, Toyota didn't actually change much with the design of the dashboard or the interior of the Hilux Conquest. Not that they really needed to anyway, because they did give it a few nicer bits here, like this trim here, a couple better things. But other than that, it's still largely the same. Of course, it's still as functional as ever, and that's what's important. For instance, you've got your two-layer glove compartment here, one upper and one lower. You've got your sunglass holder up here. Right now, we're using it for basically our RFID cards. You've got a pocket here, which is good for your phone, even if it's a little bit bigger than normal. Two cup holders. You've got a pocket here for your wallet or key or anything else, whatever else is in your pocket. There's a compartment here. It's pretty big, and it also doubles as an armrest, particularly for long drives. You look around the cabin also, you'll spot that on the driver's armrest, you've got your normal power features like the power windows, central locks, power mirrors, including the fold. You control it all from here, and all those windows are one touch up and down, so it makes it a lot more convenient. And speaking of comfort, well, you've got your automatic climate control system right here. It's one of those set it and forget it kind of deals, just once you do set it to your temperature, you just enjoy driving. Now you look around the features as well, you'll see a few more little differences, but you have to know the previous Conquest, to be able to spot them. Like this one has changed. The previous Conquest had a predominantly white gauge cluster. This one is more of black with blue needles. It actually looks really nice. The multi-info display looks really good. It's a full color unit. And it's almost Lexus-like in terms of the way it displays information, so that's pretty nice. You've got the same steering wheel as far as we can tell, and you've got these really nice buttons with a really nice torque to them, so it feels really high quality, very, very well put together. Some of the other differences are actually what a lot of the customers of the Hilux Conquest wanted. For instance, you have cruise control now. This was not present in the previous Conquest, and it's going to be very useful, particularly now because our expressway network is getting longer, and we're going to be driving for longer if you want to reach the provinces at constant speed. So that's a very good thing. We appreciate that. Now, perhaps the most major upgrade with the Hilux Conquest is the audio unit. This is no longer the previous one, which was a 2-DIN unit that kind of was recessed into the dashboard. This one sits proud of the dashboard because it's a lot bigger. It's an 8-inch touchscreen unit. It has, of course, the usual functions like AM, FM, MP3, USB, that kind of thing. It no longer has a CD player. So sorry, optical media fans, there's no CD player in the Hilux anymore. What you do get instead is, of course, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. That is something that I know a lot of you, a lot of us, have actually been waiting for in the Hilux and a lot of other Toyota models. So thankfully, this one has it. This system can also display things like, like what you also see on the multi-info display. So that's pretty useful. But overall, a lot of the upgrades are with the Hilux are what customers have been clamoring for all along. So for safety, you have anti-lock brakes with EBD and brake assist. That's going to be very handy, particularly in emergency braking maneuvers. You've got vehicle stability control, which gives you, well, better driving control really when the road is really slippery. You can turn it off here, but we don't recommend you do that. You've also got hill start assist control, which is pretty standard for a lot of the Hilux models. But the new one here is downhill assist control, which in other models we know it to be hill descent control. So it performs that similar function and it's very useful when you're going down steep inclines or even off-roading. In terms of airbags, in this version you have 7. You have, of course, the 2 in front, 2 side, and then the dual curtain airbags. You also have 1 more for the driver right here under the knee. Yes, hopefully we don't have to put any of those to the test. So powering the new Hilux Conquest is the 1GD FTV. It's a 2.8 liter diesel with a variable geometry turbo or variable nozzle turbo as Toyota calls it. It has a 6-speed automatic and of course 4-wheel drive with a locking diff and 4-low and all of that. So if you're like 4x4s, this Hilux is gonna be for you. Now, the engine may sound familiar because it's still the 1GD, but it's a little bit different compared to the one from the previous Hilux Conquest, as well as the other Hilux versions. Because this version, it gets, well, 204 PS and 500 Newton meters of torque. The previous version only got 177 and 450 Newton meters of torque. So this one has a power bump of 15% and a torque increase of 11%. That should make it a lot more interesting and a lot more fun to drive. Yes, Toyota made a lot of improvements with the 2021 Hilux Conquest, particularly this top-of-the-line 4x4 automatic in emotional red, which retails for 1.85 million pesos. A lot of the upgrades are really about enhancing the curb appeal, but some of the upgrades as well improve on the drive and will improve on the functionality, particularly Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But don't take our word for it. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think of the new Hilux Conquest from Toyota. For now, we will pause here. The next time you will see the Hilux Conquest is when we are driving it, and we'll be reporting to you exactly what we think of this new 4x4 from Toyota. If you like this format, give us a thumbs up, and so you don't miss the next video on the Hilux Conquest, you can also tap the subscribe button. You can also follow us on Facebook so you can see more of our videos, and follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. Thank you for watching. This is Vince, and I'm the editor-in-chief of AutoIndustriya.com.